Hi, I'm Shane.
And I'm Erica.
For the past 3.5 years, we've been traveling the world together.
People always ask us how we get to travel so often and go to so many places, and we want to show you how we do it. So come on this adventure with us.
We are the Nowhere Couple. Welcome back, everybody, to Season 2, Episode 4 of Worldwide. I am Shane.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to be debating what is a better option, checking a bag or carrying on a bag. So I will be arguing for checked bags because I pretty much check one every trip, regardless. And you'll be taking the side of...
Carry on, because that's what I usually try to do for my trips.
Perfect. All right, so ready to just hop right into this?
I mean, there's no better way.
All right, go ahead then, after you.
So first and foremost with carrying on is it really helps me pack less. And I know that a lot of people tend to say that they overpack, and they're always asking us and asking other travelers their recommendations for how to pack less in general. And limiting your amount of space of luggage that you have is, I would say, the easiest and most obvious way of how to do that.
So I feel differently, obviously. So I like to have checked baggage because as a professional photographer, how much equipment do I bring every time we travel? And having that all with me on the plane would be
a nightmare.
Just a nightmare if I had to carry all of that on. So I have one of those really big kind of hard shell cases that I check, and it allows me to bring everything that I need, be ready for every situation. So I don't miss a moment, a video, anything like that. I have everything that I need with me. So for me, it's actually less to keep track of in the airport. I mean, rather than having my camera equipment everywhere, and if I need something, it's all just together, and it's on the plane, and it's not anything that I have to worry about. It's in the belly of the plane, and I just enjoy having just the little carry-on that I bring, and my little rollie with my clothes in it. And like you say, it helps you pack less. But for me, because I pack more camera equipment than I do clothes, it actually helps me limit the amount of clothes I bring every trip.
So given that you are a photographer and you basically always take all of your camera or, a decent amount of your camera equipment on all of our trips, that kind of is a given then that you would always take carry-ons or, checked bags. But do you feel like there would ever be a situation that you would say, you know what, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm not going to check as many bags. And then you would reduce the amount of equipment you take? Or every single trip we go on, do you prefer to have all of the equipment so you can always be ready?
I do think it depends on the kind of trip. So I think if we were like flying to Miami to go on a cruise, or, sometimes our weekend trips, we just, it wouldn't make sense. But fortunately for me, it's always free. I actually, with my gold medallion status with Delta, I get 2 free checked bags every time. So, it doesn't cost me any more money to do it. So it's kind of something that I want to take advantage of while I can.
You might as well.
I would want to do it every trip. But like if we're going on a cruise, maybe I don't need 3 camera bodies and a drone and everything like that, But generally speaking, going to Europe, anywhere like that, I'd want to have absolutely everything with me. So you like to have everything on your possession, though, that means.
Yes, correct. Just because I feel like if I ever do need anything, like in the event that I have a long layover, like we've had multiple times flying to Asia or even, some destinations in Europe, if we have a long layover, I like to have my toothbrush, maybe a change of clothes, things like that. And then that way it's just all with me. And yes, if I do check a bag, I can just take on one outfit and my toothbrush in my carry-on, but it's just my preference to have everything available because I'm the type of person that's like, you never know what could happen or what you may need. So I just feel safer and more comfortable having everything with me. And then I have been in situations where, for whatever reason, I have not been able to get on flights, but my baggage still has my checked bags. And then my checked bags fly off to, some other country, but I'm still back in the United States. And then I have to figure out how to find my bags, who can get them back to me, do I have to fly there to meet my bags? It has been crazy at some times. So.
Absolutely. That actually is a huge fear of mine, is that I think going to Hawaii, we cut it really, really, really tight in the airport, and I think we got to the airport like 45 minutes before our flight, and I was like, they said like we'll probably make it, but our bags might not, and I was like, well, it's like $10,000 worth of camera equipment just being possibly left behind.
But see, I just had everything with me then, and I knew that I was, safe, and I was comfortable in knowing that then.
So I'll give you that one. But what about, you made a good point about having a connection. You don't feel like having all those bags with you slows you down at all. I feel like with just when I have my backpack, I'm super mobile. It's really easy for me to just breeze right through security, right through, an airport to a connecting gate. Feel like it's a little more convenient when you don't have to worry about all your stuff. You don't have to think, do I have this? Do I have this? Do I have this? What bag is my passport in? What bag is my ID in? It's, for me, it's more, I've got one bag and one pocket where all that stuff goes, and that's it. So for me, it's much more convenient to not have to worry about all that other stuff.
Well, same with me though. I have one bag, one pocket that everything goes. So usually what I do is I take my little rolly suitcase full of clothes that basically I plan on not even touching unless, I seriously need to, like if I do want a change of clothes or my toothbrush. But then otherwise I take a small bag, like a shoulder bag or a small backpack that has everything I need, like my phone, my wallet, my passport. So then that way everything is accessible just right there in that bag, like I feel like you would do even if you were checking or just carrying on.
Do you ever feel like you're like crammed though? Like you have everything just too tight, or do you find that you forget things or leave things behind because once you fill that suitcase, that's it?
Well, that goes back to my point about packing less. So that is usually a situation that I would face at home. So when I'm packing, if I see that I'm crammed, if I can't zip my suitcase, that's obviously an issue. So I'll maybe look at my outfits, see what I have, see what I, is kind of the optional things that I wanted to pack that maybe I don't actually need as much as, I'm wanting to have them there. And what I also aim to try to do, believe it or not, is when I am carrying on my little white suitcase, I try to leave actually some additional space so that even allows me to buy some clothing or souvenirs in the destination to then pack back on my way home. So I feel like I'm actually pretty good at, knowing what I have, knowing what I need and don't need. And then also, there's always the option to do laundry. You can always find a laundromat, and a lot of Airbnbs have the option for washing machines.
Yeah, hotels will sometimes do your laundry too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've even had situations like in emergencies, not that I would ever like recommend people counting on this, but I know some people who backpack do, is you can always wash clothes in the sink if you really needed to.
Yeah, I think we did that in Europe once. It was fine. And then because they mostly hang dry clothes a lot over there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like set up for that anyway. But I'll ask, do you feel like limited by the things you can pack? Because you can't bring shampoo with you. You can't bring, big toothpaste, perfume, maybe, anything. Have you ever felt limited as to what you can pack? And I know you're trying to pack less, but those kind of things are essential sometimes. So if you're going away for 10 days, do you feel like just a little shampoo bottle is enough usually?
Well, here's a little deep dive into my personal life. I only wash my hair once a week. Some may find that nasty.
Well, play
but
devil's
it's just
advocate.
what,
Play devil's advocate for me. Let's say
just
you're
what's for
somebody
me.
who needs to wash their hair, let's say 5 times on a 10-day trip every other day.
I guess it really depends on how much shampoo you use. So they sell those like $1.99 travel size shampoos, and for some people that can last a month. Maybe for guys, yeah, exactly. Who
And I have long hair,
use
but I
less
use
shampoo.
a little at a time.
Yeah. So I usually do take those travel size soaps, conditioners, shampoos with me, and they have always been more than enough. Usually I've gotten 3 to 4 trips out of them even. And if you're going to a destination that you can rely on finding some decent stores at, such as a CVS or a pharmacy or, a supermarket, you can always buy what you may need there too. So instead of taking up the space in your limited carry-on space, you can just say, I'm just going to spend a couple bucks when I get there and be fine with that.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to where I said, I'm gold medallion. You're silver medallion. So you also get 1 free checked bag. So I want to ask, do you feel as if you're wasting that benefit? Like it's almost like a waste. I don't want to say a waste of money, but the year before, obviously you have to hit a certain spend goal to get to silver. So do you feel like you're now wasting a benefit of having status by not checking a bag? Because I feel like a lot of people the main reason they won't check a bag is a lot of the time it's cost. I mean, especially if you're over like that 50 pounds,
Yeah.
it could be hundreds of dollars to check a bag. So do you feel that, my question is, do you feel like you're wasting that benefit?
That's a really good question. And if I'm being honest, yes, I do feel like that's a wasted benefit. Or I'm wasting the benefit. Yeah. I feel like for it, and it also depends on the trip. If I'm going to be spending 2 weeks in Asia, you know, like we did when we went to Thailand, then I would probably more deeply consider checking a bag, just, you know, because I have that resource. Why not use it? You know, it's a longer trip. But I think in general, the overall convenience of having everything in my carry-on, that outweighs the fact that, you know, I have the silver
Medallion.
Sorry. The silver medallion status.
Okay.
I don't feel like-
I mean, that makes sense to me. And then my other question is, do you think that destination plays a role in checking or carrying on? Like if we're just going to Cancun or we're going to San Diego, somewhere where it's nice and warm and you're just packing flip-flops, shorts, t-shirts, bathing suit, you know, versus going to, let's just say Iceland in December, you know, do you think that you would also want to check a bag, or do you feel confident that you could fit a big jacket, all those, you know, bigger, bulkier clothes in a carry-on all of the time, every trip, or do you think it depends?
So definitely depends. 100% of the time depends on the length of stay and the destination. So if we are going to Mexico for, you know, a typical like 5 or 7 day vacation, I would really try to just pack in a carry-on, because bathing suits and like a few t-shirts and shorts should not take up that much space. And if we're going to a beach destination, it's most likely I'm going to spend 85 to, you know, 100% of the time in my bathing suit.
Right.
But then, like, when we went to Tokyo in the winter, we needed sweatpants, long sleeve sweaters, jackets, like hats, gloves, everything, because it was freezing. But I always try to wear my bulkiest stuff. So if I'm taking sneakers that can't really be smushed down, you know, to the size of a sandal, I'll wear those onto the plane and then pack the smaller things.
That is a pretty common practice,
yeah,
I would say. Yeah,
yeah,
a lot
but
of
for
people
those who may
wear
not
the
know.
big jacket, you know, on the plane.
Because it's going to be cold. I mean, you know, in this Tokyo situation, at least, it's going to be cold. We went in January. So leaving New York in January, I wanted to wear my coat. And then landing in Tokyo in January, it was also cold. It was freezing in both locations.
We did stop in Hong Kong on the way, which was actually like 75 degrees.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. But I mean, that'd be different if it was the opposite. Like if we were flying to Thailand and stopped in somewhere freezing, and, you know, you just have that one day of really cold. Like, how much would you even pack
I would
for that?
probably take a sweater, you know, and that's it. Because I'm not going to take a big snow jacket just for like a 1 day layover, but maybe a sweater, which I would probably take anyway, because, you know, at night in places it gets cold, or like if a store is cold, you know, yeah.
Sounds good. So then I just also wanted to throw in there that there are some added benefits, I feel like, of having a checked bag. The main one when you fly Delta, which I feel like, you know, we always do, is that, you know, this kind of negates one of your points. If the bag is late or something like that, you're entitled to miles out of Delta. So if they don't have your bag on the carousel 20 minutes after you land, it's 2,500 miles.
So now let me ask, and I've never personally done this myself, so I really don't know. Do they know which passenger checks a bag and which doesn't?
Yes.
So if you check a bag and I don't, there's no way that like I could kind of like fool or trick the system and try to get it. They would
because
know.
you know, well, you know definitely that when you check in and you check a bag, they give you those little stickers with the bag number on it. So that's if you ever lose it, that they can scan that little barcode that they give back to you, and then that's how they find your bag, is they see where the last time it was scanned and stuff. So yes, they only people who have checked bags are eligible for that.
And so based off that question too, does it have to be after 20 minutes, or could it be 18 or 19?
They're pretty hard on 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I've tried, you know, I like try to time it sometimes so that I even know if it's worth requesting or not, you know, because I feel like, I don't want to say it's a lot of paperwork. It's, you put in your name, your SkyMiles number, your origin, destination, how many bags, and then confirmation number. And the miles get deposited immediately. It's it's not even like it's a 10-day process or a 2-day process. You get them immediately into your account. And if you're flying just New York to Florida, and your bags are late both ways, and Lord knows we've had to wait a long time for bags at JFK. It's 5,000 miles if you do it, if it happens both ways. And 5,000 miles is a lot. I mean, I showed you today, with 12,000 miles, you could book trips most places in the U.S. on Delta.
So it's like you could get a free flight basically out of it being late.
Exactly.
2 round trip
and it
times.
adds up. It happens more commonly than you think. However, Delta has definitely stepped up their game with bags because they don't want to be giving out free miles. But I would say almost every time landing back in New York, I get 2,500 miles.
So what about going to other places? Does it depend on the destination or how busy that destination is? How often does that happen?
I would say, yeah, it definitely depends on the destination, whether or not it's a hub for the airline, because if they have their procedures really set up well there, their logistics, then normally your bags will come out in time. But if you're flying to, a destination airport for that airline, then I would say you have a better chance of getting the miles.
Is JFK not a hub of Delta?
Well, JFK is a hub, but JFK is one of the busiest airports in the world.
And does size of the airport matter?
Oh,
because
absolutely.
if it has, a mile more for the bag to travel.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when we flew into Koh Samui, I think we just like picked up our bags like off the cart. We
actually had to get them off the plane ourselves.
but I it definitely plays a factor at the airport. I would say, Atlanta, you're probably guaranteed the 2,500 miles before you even land. It's such a busy airport, and for what they're doing to even have it happen in 20 minutes, even 30 minutes is incredible. I mean, how many bags move through an airport every day? It's crazy. I mean, we watched a documentary on the food. I mean, the baggage is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So I think between the free check bag, so basically I don't pay for 2,500 miles almost every time I travel.
And that's not a bad deal.
No,
Yeah.
For somebody who redeems miles and uses them for upgrades and uses them to travel around the world, it's absolutely a great deal.
Yeah, you for sure are, between us two, more on top of the miles. You almost like watch it like it's dollars. Like every mile you spend, what's it going to? What are you getting back?
Like the stocks.
You're very adamant
I'm
about it.
all
And I
over
commend you for it. Yeah, that's a great, skill to have.
Yeah, and it's not something that Delta really advertises. So for those of you who do fly Delta, you do have to have a frequent flyer number with them to do this, or else where would they deposit your miles?
But isn't it free and easy to set up though?
It's very free and very
Very
easy.
free.
But the point is that you can actually have something to gain by checking a bag.
That's true. That's true.
And I know that, you may run the risk of having it get lost, and I feel like that doesn't really happen as much anymore. I feel like when we were younger, and I don't remember when your bag went missing. I don't think that happened with us.
No, with my
anytime
family.
we've been traveling. So how long ago do you think?
10 years, but my whole family's bags went missing. So with 5 people, 10 bags, 10 suitcases. It was a lot.
And, a lot of airlines and credit cards now actually have insurance for that kind of stuff, so that, you could buy clothes if you need something for the day, or any accessories isn't the right word. What would you call, like, toothpaste and all that kind of stuff?
Toiletries?
Toiletries. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. But yeah, my point is that, I think there's more to gain by checking a bag than carrying on a bag. I think it's great to have your possessions in hand, but I think overall, it's a much smoother ride through the airport. It's much smoother through security. I mean, how many times do you get stopped in security to have your bag looked through again?
Not very many. Only the times that I, it's reasonable. Like if I have a bottle of water, but that could happen to you just if you have water in your pocket or whatever small bag you do take on.
Fair.
I feel like it happens almost the same amount for us.
Fair. I guess, yeah, sometimes the camera stuff that I do carry on, I don't check everything. The most expensive stuff I bring on with me.
And that they like to look at. So
well, it's a lot of wires and things, and I don't judge them for that. But generally speaking, I would say when I go through security, it's really a breeze.
And same for me though. Just my suitcase of clothes and then my little bag of passport, phone, and that's it.
Do you think that's out of practice though? Do you think that the the unfrequent flyer, the not frequent flyer, would have as much ease going through security with all of their stuff as you do?
I mean, I feel like that's kind of a loaded question because, I mean, side note, we have seen people going through security and have said to each other like they must have never flown before, because security is very overwhelming within itself. You know, take your shoes off, take your jacket off. What do I do with my iPad? What do I do with my watch? You know, it is a lot. And so unless you've done it multiple times, it's very overwhelming. But I do feel like as long as you kind of just pay attention and are aware and read the signs that they have, if you've never flown before and it's your first time flying, you really should be fine as long as you pay attention.
Okay. I'm just wondering if, checking a bag would make more sense, though, because, let's just say you only have your little handheld bag and you just have to take your cell phone out and take your shoes off. I feel like that would be a little more manageable for the first time flyer, for the not very frequent flyer.
Well, what else would be left for them, though, in like my situation of carry-ons, just to lift a suitcase up onto the belt, and that would be the only extra step for them.
I think it falls under a lot of categories too, with packing and things like that. Again, people who aren't super familiar with all of it. I mean, how often do we see people who are like, "Can I take a water bottle through?" And it's like, no.
Did you see the signs?
Yeah,
Did you hear them yelling at everyone about it? Like,
so,
of course not.
I think, a lot of it comes with experience. And I know a lot of people who will never check a bag. And I know people who always check bags.
And exactly.
It is a preference thing. And I also think it just really has to do with what you're packing.
And yeah, as you fly more, you definitely find what's best for you. You know, what items you must have, such as camera and video equipment, all of that, and what items are more optional, like, maybe you don't need 18 t-shirts, maybe you can go with just 17 or 16, so traveling more and gaining that experience definitely has helped us figure out what's best for us. And everyone is different, everyone has different needs and opinions on everything, but yeah,
I think for the most part it just comes with experience and knowing what you need out of your bags. Basically, do you need a big bag with all that stuff, or are you somebody who can pack in a very small suitcase?
And would you feel more comfortable flying with everything with you, or are you kind of just carefree, like, take it off my hand? So it really just depends on people's individual personalities, I would say.
And you and I have different ones, especially when it comes to packing in
Oh,
airports.
for sure.
So, I mean, do you have any other points?
No, we kind of hit them all for me. Yeah. How about you?
I think I'm good. I think I've said everything I feel like I need to defend the checked bag elites over here.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess if you feel differently, anybody out there, or if you guys definitely have a preference one over the other, or are you somebody who would bounce back, again, just kind of depending on the trip, where you're going, let us know. And, we'll definitely be taking some polls on this in the next couple of days, because I definitely want to know, because it's probably been one of the more age-old questions when it comes to travel. I mean, I
would say between aisle and window and checked and carry-on, these seem to be the two main questions of, the frequent flyer. So let us know if we've swayed your opinion at all, or if we missed any key points, let us know in the comments.
Other than that, we will see you out there.
We'll see you out there.